Hi, this is Glenda. I've been looking at step cards, and this is one I've shown before that my daughter made. So being proud mother, I'll show it again. And I have got dozens of instructions for these cards. So I thought, okay, I'm going to sort out which of these do I actually like. So I have made up, literally, heaps and heaps of these little prototypes. So I thought I'd quickly run through what I've done. The simplest one is a side step card. Well, let's start again. The simplest one is a step card, and it's literally steps across the page and not panels. So I haven't bothered with that because it literally is Mountain Valley Folds, and it's one of the older ones. So then if we go to the side step cards, the simplest of these would be the single step, and it has just one bend like that, and this lends itself really well to turning it into dresser drawers or a toolbox or something like that by putting little panels on it. So that's the single step. Then I suppose the next logical one would be the double side step card, and as you can see I have got heaps and heaps of these. A lot of the instructions varied by the tiniest little bit, and they've all come out fairly similar. So what I've done is make up a cheat sheet of what I think is perhaps the easiest, nicest, most economical, or whatever measurement of the different sizes, different styles of cards, which I'll get to in a minute. So the double step, you've got your panel on the side, and you've got well, it's sort of almost 3 steps this time. I suppose if you count that as 2 because it's got a higher panel, but these are basically 3. But you can get your higher panel by sticking on, like whatever you decorate it with can stick on to make taller panels. So that's the double side step, and that's a slightly larger one. They did vary. Sometimes they would have these bottom 2 steps the same height, and I preferred the staggered, so I went with a staggered one. Then the centre step, and they came in various widths. Oh, that's another. Oh, that's a double. Yeah, we've got a single centre step. Okay, I knew I was going to get flummoxed doing all this. So single centre step where you've just got the one at the side, and that's the same, so there's various widths. Okay, if you want to have a look at Card Making Magic, she has a couple of tutorials for 2 different sorts. One that has virtually no measuring, which is I think a single side step, and this one which is a very large card, because all the cards she makes tend to be really big, so I haven't bothered with that. So anyway, that's the single centre step, I think. Then there was the double centre step, which of course has 2. And I don't know, I'm getting lost here. Okay, I have to say this video is doomed. The battery went flat. Then the camera didn't record, so the last chunk of what I did I've lost, so I've got no idea where I'm up to. I think I had shown you the centre step cards, single centre step, double centre step, various widths, and I'm not sure if I showed you the middle step cards, but I was telling you that I hadn't bothered including a pattern for those because I don't like them very much. So yeah, as I say, I've got no idea where I am up to now, and what I have shown you and what I haven't. So what I did was do a cheat sheet for the cards that I decided I liked. There's 5 single sheets in the PDF file, and I've just printed 4 to a page so I could have a single sheet to do this video. But what I do is put it on my tablet or phone, or actually both, and then if I'm out crafting somewhere, I've got it there and I can make a card without having to think, oh, what were the measurements? So I had started by showing you how the silhouette file comes for the circle card, and it does come without this bit chopped out. It comes as a full circle, and it's got perforated lines, so you coerce your folds, and oh, it's so much easier now it's pre-folded, I have to tell you. I fiddled a bit in the bit that you'll never see, and it comes out like that, and it has these little bits at the edge that you have to just snip off, and all of that is in the video that didn't record. But if you cut it out, you'll see what I mean, and you can use that to make a baby card or whatever, but I really just found it too fiddly for me to try and do by just folding. So that's why you get a silhouette file for this one. And I don't know if I said already, but I couldn't get the Scan and Cut to work with it. It was just because of the lack of perforated lines, it was just far too complicated and wonky. So we'll start with a single side step card, and you'll pretend that I haven't already slit it because you haven't already seen this part. And it's an 8.5 by 5.5, but you can use an A5 if you're like me and in an A4 oriented country, if that made any sense whatsoever. So we're going to put this at 2.75, and we're going to score between 1 and 5.25. So between 1 and 5.25, and I've already done it, so I won't do it again. So that's the cut. All of these side step ones have one slit, and the centre step ones have two slits, and that's all the cutting there is on them. So on the cheat sheet you'll see for this one I know that I've got to come across 2.75, and my score is between 1 and 5.25. Clear as mud. So scoreboard, you can also use your cutter if you haven't got a scoreboard. Now, which was the 2.75? That one. So on the 2.75 we want to score it at 4.25, which is halfway. And on this side we're going to score it at 1, 2 and 5.25. Now for all of these you can adjust how wide you make either side. You can shrink, widen them, or widen the whole piece of paper, and your measurements for all this will still be the same. It's just how far you come across for your slit. And I've just lost my train of thought. Maybe it'll come back later. Oh, you can do this on either side too, so I can have my steps down this side, or I can have my steps down this side. If you're using one coloured stock, you can just flip it. If you've got a patterned stock, you'll have to plan it before you do it. So it's the half one just always goes down as a mountain. You always have a mountain to start with. Mountain, valley, mountain, and there we go. That's the single side step card. So the next one is the double side step card. So again we get the cutter, and this time we're going to come across either 2.5 or 3, whatever you prefer, whichever panel you want to have as wider. So I'll make this one 2.5, and then I'm going to cut between 1 and 6.5. So I put my blade on 1, come down to 6.5, and that's my cutting. So on this one I'm going to have this as my long panel, so I'm going to score it in half, which for my cardstock is going to be 4 1/8, but it might be 4 1/4 for you if you're using other cardstock. So then we're going to come, the first score on this will always match up with your line, and the last one will match up with the other end of the line. So this is going to be at 1, 2, 3.5, 4.75 and 6.5. So you can see on the diagram I've said, here's my cardstock I'm starting with, here's my line that I'm going to cut, and it's going to be between 1 and 6.5, and I'm going to choose whether to put it at 2.5 or 3. And there's my score lines, and the little one over here. So hopefully these diagrams will make sense. They work for me, and I'm my primary audience. So okay, I seem to have the steps on the other side this time. And again, that is all there is to it. And that's the double side step card. Oh, I'm going to have to decorate all these when I've done them, aren't I? At least the others are all prototype papers. I'm going to put them all in the bin. Okay, so the file also includes a larger one done on 6x10 stock, and another one that's in metric done on 15 by 30 centimetres. And the one my daughter did, which I've lost already, is bigger again. But Andrea Walford, who back in 2010 did a guide to this, she has a formula, and you work out your length. You have to divide that into 3 numbers that get bigger. So in her case she chose 2, 3, 5, and then worked out her scores would then be at 1, because that's half of the 2. Then the next one, and on the 2, the next one's going to be at 3.5, which is the 1.5 and the 2 added together, and so on. And that tells you how to work it out. If you want to make something that's longer, wider, you just go with it anyway. But it comes out quite impressive with a bigger card. It's quite impressive on a smaller one too, but that's what that's all about. If you want to search her for her video, I may or may not put a link underneath to it. I probably will. But that's a large one. I won't make that up for you because I'm sure you're getting the idea by now, if you don't already know, because these have been around for so long. It's just that I'm just getting around to getting straight in my head what all the variations are and which ones I actually like. So the single centre step card, we've got a 4 1/4 by 11, or 5 1/2 by 11. The 4 1/4, you can get it out, so you get 2 out of a sheet, but it almost looks a little scungy, I think. So the 5 1/2's better, but it does cost you a sheet of card. So for this one, we're going to go 1 inch from the edge, and we're going to go between 1 and 6.5. 1 and 6.5, and then you're going to flip it over so that you do the other side exactly the same. So again at 1 inch and between 1 and 6.5. So we've got our 2 slits this time. So this time we're going to score at 5.5, oh, try turning it that way, 5.5 just across the middle panel. And then for the edge panels we're going to score at 1, 2 and 6.5. Flip it over and do 1, 2 and 6.5, and then again your middle one is going to be mountain, and you're going to do mountain, valley, mountain, and mountain, valley, mountain. Just make sure it's all straight, burnish it down, and that's the single centre step card. So I don't know if that's useful. It's helped sort it all out in my mind as to the different variations, and that's the bigger 6x10 version. But that's what I've got it down to, as ones that quite took my fancy and I thought were nice and balanced and reasonably economical. So I shall go away and decorate them all, and at least I came up with something for a video this week. Thank you for watching, if you persevered with my ramblings.